Hey everybody, I'm back just to talk about a couple of things. Going back in time, a long time. When I graduated from college, my friends would tease me. They graduated with degrees in things they thought were useful, and I graduated with a degree in ancient Greek and Roman history and a minor in philosophy. Now, you want fries with that? And, I thought it was funny then, kind of. I think it's sort of funny. I mean, I think it's kind of stupid, but I want to talk about why my philosophy degree is the most valuable piece of education in my life. I mean, in 1990, when I graduated from college, nobody knew the internet was going to be a thing, nor did we ever imagine it would be manipulated by nonsense. The propaganda on the internet, repeated by people who buy it, is shocking to me. And I think in part it comes from my mental training from my philosophy degree. And I don't want to sound like an obnoxious know-it-all, liberal elite idiot. But there is an intellectual mechanism to apply. It's very simple. When you're on the internet and you see something that you react to, there's an emotional reaction to things. There's an intellectual reaction to things. And there is an interplay between the two. So it's not like it's 100% one and 100% the other. Propaganda doesn't rely on the intellectual. Propaganda relies on the emotional. Some propaganda is designed to make you just cut off from political life. Oh, none of this works. It's all nonsense. It's all rigged. I'm not getting involved. I'm stepping back. These guys are all stealing and they're all jerks. So that's taken a hold in the United States. It's pretty deep in certain aspects of the United States. And it's not true. It's true if you believe it and act on it, then it's very true for you. But you still have the ability to change that. You could go get involved in local politics. You could get involved in a senatorial campaign. You could do a lot of things. And if you don't and believe that politics doesn't work, you've fallen for the propaganda, because you have the ability to adjust things and get involved and do things, but you're not going to. And that's one aspect of propaganda, but I kind of got distracted here. I want to talk about how to react to Facebook posts and to determine whether it's propaganda and whether it's actual real. And it's not a 100% test. It doesn't work all the time. But here it is. If you see something on Facebook that crosses your eyeballs, that triggers in you, and you've got to pay attention to yourself when you're working on this stuff. You can't let other people pay attention to you. You've got to take control back and pay attention to you. If you see a story or a video or a meme on Facebook that triggers a dopamine response, that makes you feel righteous or good or confirm your bias, you need really to stop. I'm not saying stop using Facebook, although slow down on Facebook just for your own health. I'm saying is stop for a second. Don't go from emotional to emotional. That goes from an emotional piece of propaganda to you repeating that piece of propaganda to trigger other people. And you can see where this gets to be what starts as a trickle can become an avalanche of water, of nonsense spouting around. So when you feel that dopamine response, I urge you to stop for a second and step back from your emotional and think about the intellectual side and say, wait a second, this made me feel a certain way. I should assume that it's not true. That's the check that the intellectual side can do. It's a mechanism for thought process, for protecting yourself from nonsense. And it takes work, and it's a muscle that takes practice and work. But do it this way. If you see something that says to you, oh my God, I was right. That makes me feel really good. I feel like I'm on the right side of things. Stop for a second and assume that the algorithm knows you, and assume that the people who are drafting these memes are not your friends. And I'm not saying they're not. They may be. And this might be absolutely correct, 100%. But if you feel the dopamine response, stop for a second, step outside the emotional, and make yourself work to the intellectual and say to yourself, self, this is probably not true. That's the assumption I'm going to take. In order to move forward, I'm going to do what I need to do to figure out whether it's true. So I'm going to give you an example, and it's an absurd example. And it's been shared to me by a number of different people. I'm going to tell it to you, and when I tell it to you, I think just about everybody watching this video, if you got this far, is going to go, what the fuck? No way, come on. All right. But you're only able to say that because you're thinking about it from the intellectual side. If you saw this put together meme and you were inclined to agree with the person who sent it to you, or you're inclined to believe that for whatever other reason is associated with this, an emotional connection, you might not get to the intellectual side. Here it is. The 14th Amendment was not ratified by all the states, and therefore it doesn't apply. And therefore, the federal government does not have the ability or the right to control the states on making important state decisions that affect its citizens. That's what the meme says. I say it out loud. Yeah, right. 1868 or 65, or whenever the 14th Amendment was enacted, nobody has noticed the fact that the states didn't ratify it for 165 years, despite probably 30 different cases going to the United States Supreme Court. None of the attorneys, none of the judges, none of the pundits, none of the newspaper writers, nobody working at the state offices to figure out whether they're going to ratify the 14th Amendment and enforce it. None of them noticed that it wasn't ratified by all the necessary states. I mean, when you think about it, it's idiotic. And smart people buy it and fall for it because they haven't exercised their intellectual side of their brain. So, sorry for the long message. I want people to stop letting Russian propaganda manipulate you, even if it's not Russian propaganda, although a lot of it is. It's propaganda from somebody. I want you to try what I've just said. And I'm not asking you to agree with me intellectually. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Most of my friends disagree with me politically. That's fine. I got no problem with that. I ask that you exercise your intellectual side of your brain to recognize emotional manipulation on Facebook. You learn how to do this and you will be superpowered to be able to deal with social media. All right, everybody, I hope this helps. I don't know how many people are actually going to get through 8 minutes and 40 seconds of a video of this idiot ranting along, but I hope a lot of people do, and I hope you learn something from it. All right?